I think a lot of people who come from a family where their parents fall off and end up, using drugs and things like that, end up following that same path themselves and don't realize that you can take that and make that the sort of strength that propels you toward success and being passionate about good, healthy things. I lived with my mother for the first 11 years of my life, and then I haven't lived with my mother since. So I haven't lived or really steadily been around my mother for over 12 years. She sort of had a falling out with drugs. I mean, I would see it, like Brillo pads and straight glass pipes and, things like that. I mean, I was aware of them being around, definitely, but I didn't understand the severity of it at all. Then I started to realize that obviously it was something bad if she was going to give up her kids, which, we were her strength. We were what made her go on. So for her to give that up, she had to have been far out on something. We were everything to her, we were all she had. She gave us up because she knew that if we stayed with her, our lives would not be good. She wouldn't be able to raise 4 kids, and the types of things that would end up happening to us would just be, horrible. Horrific. She wouldn't even be able to feed us. And there were a couple times where she would just call at 3 a.m., hadn't heard from her in 2-3 years, and she would call and I would answer the phone, hello, and I would hear her voice, and my grandparents would pick up the other line, and so she would hang up. And those were the hardest times because I would know she was okay, so I'd be so happy, but then I wouldn't be able to talk to her, so it would just devastate me to know she was so close but so far away. She would say, oh, I'm better, and then she wouldn't call again for another year, and then sometimes she'd call and she invited me out to Seattle, and I went and visited her, and she wasn't better. And then one day she sent me a card, and then she called, and then she kept calling week after week, and it was more regular. And then she invited me out to see her house. And slowly I began to realize that she was in a very stable place. My mother went through very intense rehab to get where she is today. They did it, I guess, in 2 stages, where they put her through the normal rehab program, and then they put her through the rehab program again. So it's kind of double dose of rehab. And I know some people think that I should be angry toward her, but I can't. I know that what she was going through was so hard, and she didn't have anyone to fall back on. And she built strength in me that I don't think I would have been able to get any other way. I'm a hard-nosed girl now. I can do anything now. I really feel like I can. Our time together now is just so much more precious because there was that block of time where she didn't see me really develop. And it made me work harder academically because that was one thing that I could focus on, that I could control, and that I could really put all of my emotions into and succeed regardless of anything that was ever going on. And so I think in a lot of ways it really drove me to be successful. Even though you come from a situation like that, it's still up to you and your will to, come out successful and to make it into sort of positive living experience.